Good morning. Welcome, Empowered Living Community. And look who I've got. Diane Burton, how are you?
I am great, Paul Martinelli. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I've been so excited to be able to talk to you. I mean, I know that you crushed it with the Empowered Women with Regina, and you're such a big part of our community. It's great. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Thank you so much for having me. It is so exciting and such a joy to be here and to share my story with others.
Well, your story is like amazing. It's really, especially like if people met you now, they can't, they couldn't imagine. I remember you and I were on a call. It might have been JMT. It might have been the JMT, or it could have been an Empowered Living call. And you were in the queue and you came on and you were talking about this transformation you had made in your life. And you were talking about, you had made a decision. And I said, no, you didn't make a decision. You've made and I started to think about how long you lived into that one decision that you made.
Yes.
And that one decision had to be reinforced by multiple decisions every day for every day thereafter. Would you share, give us a bite of this story, because this is so powerful.
I will. Thank you. So at the age of 6, I started gaining weight and was bullied for years and years all through school, because by the time I was a senior in high school, I weighed almost 100 pounds more than I do now. And for someone who is 5'3" and small bones, 100 pounds extra is a lot. And so I made one decision my senior year in high school, January of 1971. I was working in the afternoons at a bank, and I was invited to go to a weight loss meeting. And trust me, Paul, people had been after me for years to let go of the weight. And I don't know, it was stubbornness probably. But anyway, this was my decision. I made the decision to go that night. And that one decision has made all the difference in the world. And as you said, on that call that we had, hundreds of thousands of decisions, like nearly 200,000 decisions if I just made 10 a day. And it's from that one decision that everything has fallen into place. And so now I've kept the weight off. It's been 51 plus years ago that this happened, that I made that one decision.
And you think about these hundreds of thousands of decisions, because you think about every single meal, you have to make a decision. Yes. And then in between those meals, the temptation, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine if you start gaining weight at 6 and you fast forward to your 17 or 18, right, as a high school senior.
Yes.
I would imagine that you would have built such a neural network of your life revolving around food, emotionally, just like physically, spiritually, even. I mean,
yes.
And so to break that kind of a habit, I mean, what was it? How did you overcome temptation and all the things? Because how many people just this past January said, I'm going to lose weight, and are already, breaking that commitment to themselves?
Well, Paul, it started with the physical part of, I want to lose this weight. It's time. And also I had been bullied so much because of my weight. And even when I first started gaining weight, my parents thought something was wrong with me. They took me to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with her. She just likes to eat. Okay. And I ate. I did like to eat, yet there had to be more to it. And I just kept being bullied. And the one thing I discovered was food couldn't talk back to me. And I conquered, yeah. I could sit and I could eat food and it wouldn't bully me. Whereas I would be bullied by other people, and I felt like I was judged a lot. I allowed it to make me feel stupid, ugly, unworthy. I even had a thought of, how in the world could God possibly love this person? And even after I lost the weight, I now say release, but even after I lost the weight, I didn't love who I saw in the mirror. And so I kept the weight off because of fear. I tried every diet that was out there because I was so afraid if I put it back on, people would judge me. So, yeah.
Did you ever go through periods of time where you slipped and started to gain weight again?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we were newlyweds. I was married, Ken and I was at a ladies' event with my mother-in-law in West Virginia, and one of the ladies there said, Diane, it looks like you're starting to put some weight on.
Wow.
That I was crushed. I was crushed. And I
Yeah.
immediately I started like, I can't, no, the judging has started again. And from then on, I was like, never again, never again. Even when I was expecting my 2 children, I never gained lots and lots of weight. I gained some, of course, yet I was never one of those that I had hundreds of pounds to lose afterwards. It was just kind of a normal thing. Like, never again will I go
You
there.
know, it's amazing because weight loss is one of those things where people feel like they have a right to comment, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's strange, isn't it?
Well, what's interesting, Paul? I am now told that I'm too thin. And I actually had somebody at my, I'm telling my age, 50 years I've kept the weight off, but my 45th high school reunion, someone made a comment of, boy, Diane, I hope you're still alive at our 50th. You've gotten so thin. I hope you don't keep losing weight and you're so thin, I'm like, well, what gives people the right to make comments like that? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, as I always say, opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one and should keep their own, right?
Yes, yes.
So as you start this journey starts, as many do, being driven by fear. Sometimes fear is a great motivator, right? We will do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. When do you think it shifted from being kind of fear driven, Diane, to where it was a healthy choice of value and belief? I value who I am. I value being healthy. I believe it's important. And so when did that shift occur?
It shifted 40 years later, January of 2011, when I started being trained to be a grief coach. And going through a process with the trainer, we realized that I had been holding on to all the negative, all the bullying, all those thoughts. Even though those people were no longer bullying me, they were bullying me in my mind. And I would look in the mirror
Wow.
and not like what I saw. And so that's when it changed. So that's where that 40 years of holding on to it. And I shared with her of a scripture that I love from Ephesians 2:10 about being God's masterpiece. And she said, I want you to run with that. And so I began to study more and dig more. And I realized that I was God's masterpiece and He did love me no matter what. He loved me unconditionally. And it was during the training, my grief coach training, that I began to look at myself differently. And I began to love the person I saw in the mirror instead of being critical. And there was actually a day that I realized when I was being so critical of this physical body, I was actually being a bully to God. Because, yeah, think about that. Because He created it. And so if I'm criticizing Him, yeah,
Oh, wow.
it hit me.
Wow. You've been very intentional in the number of years that I've known you to either correct me or other people and yourself around losing weight versus releasing weight. You're very intentional about releasing. Shit, why is that? What's the differential there? What's the difference and what's the?
Well, Paul, if you lose something, what do?
Yeah, you go and find it.
You go looking for it, don't you? And
Yeah.
so how many people, did you know there's a statistic that 65% of the people who lose weight gain it back after 5 years, and 95% gain it back after after 1 year, the 65%, 95% gain it back after 5 years. So when I started this journey, it had a 95% failure rate. And
Wow.
so it was important, and it was after I realized I released the bullying in my head. I got out of that toxic relationship with myself and released that, that I began to realize the difference in the losing and releasing. And so that's why I now say release. And I talk to people about that. Do you want to lose it or release it? Let it go. Just, whew, let's get rid of that and it be gone.
Yeah. And I mean, releasing 100 pounds and keeping it off for decades is a major achievement. And yet you've been able to compound achievements on top of achievements. I mean, you've reached the highest level in a multi-level, am I allowed to say?
Well, it's not the highest level, but I'm at a leadership position. Yeah, I am. Yes, in a
Yeah.
sales company. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're a national sales director with Mary Kay,
Well, no,
which
senior sales director.
senior sales director,
Yeah, senior.
which, that is very few people reach that level of leadership in that organization. And I think it's one of the best. I think Mary Kay is one of the greatest companies ever invented and created. But to reach that level is pretty amazing.
It's 1%. It's the top 1% of the company, and I've been a sales director since 1993.
Wow.
Earned several cars along the way.
I
So
love it.
yeah, yeah. So it's one, and yet during that time, because I started with the company in 1981. During that time, even though I was achieving, I would find myself sabotaging myself because I would say, yeah, I would say, you can do that, but I can't. And I would tell myself I was going to do it, and then I would find myself sabotaging myself. And so it this plays for everyone in their life when they have these sabotaging thoughts, when they have this negative mindset like I did. It affects every area of a person's life: physically, emotionally, spiritually,
Yeah.
financially, in your business. This is why I love working with women in entrepreneurs, direct sales, network marketing, because they've got such a mindset. Many times it's a lack mindset instead of abundant. And that's where I was.
Mm.
It wasn't an abundant mindset, it was a lack mindset. And that
I
came
think
from
that's what I think that's what makes you a master coach, is that you've walked it,
Mhm.
and in many ways you're still walking it. I think that's really important when you're looking for a coach. You certainly want somebody who has the results, right? Who's done it. But I think you also want to find somebody who's still doing it, right? Who's still in the
Yes.
trenches. I remember when the current Pope became Pope, him telling the Cardinals that, he expected them to start smelling like sheep. In other words, he expected them to be out there with the flock, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so in many ways, as you're coaching your clients through transformation in their business and in their personal lives, you're bringing the credibility of what you've done and the vulnerability of what you're doing every single day, the real life lessons that you're learning and applying in your own life. You're taking people where you've been and where you're going. And I think that's what separates you from so many other coaches.
Thank you. Yes. And it is a daily choice every single day. And like you said, every meal, every time you go to the grocery store, when you plan, when I work here in my office, everything is it's a decision every single time. I'm
Yeah.
working on the mindset. And Paul, I have days that I've learned how to be aware of my thoughts. And sometimes it'll be like, why is there a cloud hanging over me? What have I done? What have I eaten that could have caused that? And I'm really careful, yet sometimes, you might eat
Yeah.
something, you might not get enough sleep. Something happens in your life that, because we all have things going on in our life that can affect us. And the decision is, I'm going to find gratitude. I'm going to look for the lesson, blessing, and gift in every single thing that's going on in my life. And that's a decision. It's a choice every single day that I'm working on that.
What I also love about what you do is you do bring a faith component to your coaching. Will you share how that's been an important part of your journey and why you are committed to that in your relationship with those you coach?
I can't do this by
Mm.
myself, main thing. God gets the glory for all of it. And I realize I'm so grateful now for the past that I had. And I realize that I can use it to serve others. I was raised, I've gone to church all my life. My parents, I was raised in a Christian family. My husband is a minister. And what's interesting, though, Paul, is it was after those 40 years, it was that January of 2011 when I let go that I realized I had not relied on God the way that
Mm.
is best to do. I had focused more on the approval of man. It was about what I looked like. Please don't think I'm fat. How do I look in these clothes? Is everything okay? And I realized it was more important to focus on the approval of God. And so I started digging more and more into the scriptures and really relying on Him, praying for wisdom every single day. And I tell my clients, look, this isn't me. I pray for wisdom every single day. And I know that when I'm speaking and that we're coaching, I know God has given me guidance on this because I can't do it by myself. And so
Mm.
it is the most important thing is my faith and living for Him and sharing Him with others. And I want to be sure that I can help these women get out of the pit and live a life that God has wants them to live and to be all that He intended them to be. He's given us talents, and I want to be the 5 talent instead of the 1 talent. The 5 talent doubled, the 1 talent buried. And I don't want to bury, and I believe I buried too many years. And it's time for me to get it out there and to be able to serve others.
And that's beautiful. I love that. You don't want
Thank
to
you.
bury it. That's so good. You've created lots of different now products, digital products. You've got live workshops you do. I know in trainings. I know you do. You've got a really busy one-on-one private practice coaching as well. How long have you been working at building this new business?
I started coaching full time the fall of 2013. So
Mm.
for a little over 8 years now.
7, 8 years. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And so go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I get to speak like to ladies events. The ladies, they'll have a church event, a retreat, or a ladies' day, different things like that. And I get to go speak. Many times I speak to them about being God's masterpiece from my book or whatever topic they want. I've really been talking about being knit together spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and how we're God's masterpiece and to feast to live. Too many people are in a famine. So let's feast on God's word. Let's feast on the good He's given us. And
Mm.
instead of living in this famine and starving in a world where we're designed to feast.
That's so good. You are so good. When we think about coaching, everybody kind of has preferred clients. Who is like your ideal? Like if you get to work with somebody, you're like, yes, this is the type of person I really want to help and I want to pour into. Who's your ideal client?
Well, there's kind of two. One is female entrepreneurs, network marketing, direct sales. I love working with them because I've a part of direct sales. I know what it's like to am I ever going to make this happen kind of thing, and to not have the right kind of thoughts. And I also love working with just ladies in general who are struggling with things from their past, things that they've had happen in their life. And so some of my clients are just women who have found me through social media or just know me from other events and things. and they come to me because they're just, it's almost like they're drowning in their hurt, in their agony.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's women, and it's kind of these two areas.
Yeah. And, hurt people,
Yeah.
and we hurt ourselves, don't we? Right. I mean, that's so one question I want to ask you before we end, because it's something I think lots of people who've reached your level of success and your level of achievement get asked is, what's your daily agenda like? What's 3 or 4 things that you do kind of, these are non-negotiable, you're doing them, you are start your day or end your day or in your day, these things are present in your calendar no matter what.
I get up early. Most days it's 5 o'clock, 5 minutes till 5. I go to boot camp 3-4 mornings a week. Other days I'll work out here at home, walk on the treadmill outside type of thing. And then I spend an hour or more with my Bible study. I read, I journal, prayer, gratitude. I do all of that. I get my day started with that. And then I get ready for the day, and I'm in my office, and I work on whatever project I'm on. And yet if somebody's name comes to mind, I'll text them or I'll call them, and I write cards, and I want to check on people also. I teach a ladies Bible class once a quarter at where we go to church, and so I work on that. And so, yeah, and then spend time with Ken. We, 46 and a half years of marriage. So
Amen.
yeah.
And he's a big cheerleader for you too. I mean, he's a busy guy. I mean, he's a busy guy. But he's a big cheerleader for you and loves to see you. I mean, you've traveled a lot in the last year to Florida several times, but he's as supportive as he could be, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And I will say, can I do this? I never have to ask him, but I just do. And he said, you don't have to ask. I said, I know, but I just want you to know that I'm going to be spending some money or I'm going to be investing in my growth so that I can be better as a coach, as an entrepreneur myself. So yeah, but
you've been a good steward of that, because you're at a point now where your business is paying for your growth.
Yes.
And that's a really good place to be, isn't it?
It is. And it's wonderful.
So good.
And it's so good to be a part of the Empowered Living group and to have met Paul Martinelli, because you poured so much into me, and just getting to do this with you is such an honor. And I just truly believe I was supposed to meet you and get to learn from you. And for those who are part of Empowered Living, lean into everything that Paul has to offer, because it is gold. It is pure gold. I've just grown so much. I don't think it's even been a year that I've been a part of Empowered Living, and I've grown so much. It has been a year, because I did that mastermind a year ago, January. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You're a giant in our community. For those of you, if you're looking for a coach, or of a woman who just needs somebody who just has a level of belief and a commitment to people and a commitment to growth, in the comments below is a link to how you can get in touch with Diane, her website, beautiful website. Pick up her book. You will absolutely love working with Diane. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your weekend. Tell Ken we said hey.
I will. Tell Holly I said hi.
All right.
And Evo.
Bye-bye. All right. Bye-bye. God bless.